The birthplace of the Bohemian Revolution from Cowork 591 Studios. We are the Bohemian Reformation, and this is the Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network with producer Blake Tempus and co-hosts Dale Rueber and Mike Farrell. I am Jim Gillespie, and this is the Jesup News for November 11th, 2024. Tonight, we are sponsored by Mickey D's Pizza and Lobster. They have been very kind sponsors of the Steve Brown Arts Center and sponsor this podcast weekly. Tonight, we talk about the recent election nationally as well as locally. We talk to our correspondent in New York City or thereabouts. We look at etiquette, something that Dale reminds me that I need quite often. We look at the Jesup news. We talk about some events coming up in the Steve Brown Arts Center, and we give you other updates. Remember that the Steve Brown Arts Center is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that has a vision for artists, young and old alike, to have the opportunity to better themselves while helping to build the skills of those around them. The long-range vision is to have a house rurally for artists to live in, for professional and emerging artists, as well as people in the humanities, and artists will be offered accommodations and studio space in exchange for a contribution of labor and maintenance of the buildings and the grounds. So hopefully the cost of housing goes down in the next 4 years. But tonight we've got a lot on the table. What did you and Dale bet, Mike? I can't remember. Was it a Lamborghini? I can't remember.
I think he's supposed to wear a Trump shirt and do the comb over for Donald Trump for the next 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't recall that bet.
I thought you were supposed to do the comb over.
Well, I'm growing my hair out here.
I see. Oh, you're a little fuzzy there. So.
Yep.
So for winter?
It is. Yeah, okay. It is to stay warm. Yeah. But wow. The Mike, you were right. President Trump won not only Electoral College, but he also won the general election. So your thoughts?
So I literally, Jim, stayed up until 3 o'clock last night. I was just tossing and turning. Obviously, I'm pleased that it went my way, but we really need to figure out a way how we can all meet in the middle, or at least attempt to try. We need to find a way to talk across the table to one another and agree civilly to disagree with one another and understand that I'm not going to win all the time. You're not going to win all the time, right? And I'm hoping that happens. You know, I think I told you last week, I don't like President Trump personally. I just like policy, most policy. I do like Joe Biden personally. Didn't like his policy. So, but anyways, in my travels in New York City, it literally was just congested every way you went. There were what seemed to be thousands and thousands and thousands of people at schools and churches and just lines everywhere. It was awesome to see. And everybody was talking about it. But today, if you were to go down to downtown New York City today, it was a ghost town.
Well, I talked to Coley Mead over at City Hall today, and he said Buchanan County has 14 precincts, and in those 14 precincts, there was a 76% voter turnout.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, I can remember as a kid in high school and even in college, voter turnout being 29, 30, 31%.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you got to be happy with our country for doing that, with the big turnout that it had.
And it is such a privilege to be able to vote, and to somewhat feel as though our voting is secure and it is honest and it's reliable. They started early last night in, what was it? Was it Minnesota, Wisconsin, or Michigan? One of those states. They had to do a 31,000 recount because one of the machines was not either sealed or locked, and they had to recount it. And I thought, oh my God, here we go. We're going to be 2 weeks before we figure this out. We're going to go in front of all kinds of courts and everything else. And I took a deep breath. I went downstairs, I got a pop, and I came back up, and it all kind of smoothed out. I was glad to see that.
Yeah. You know, it is. It's amazing. They've improved counting the votes.
Oh, after the last time.
Yeah.
It's they've been working on it for 4 years.
Right.
I mean, really after the 2020. So they did it right.
Yeah. You know,
Because I was amazed that they had the counting done so early. It was like enough that they could declare a winner. It wasn't Friday or next week. It was Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. So.
What'd you watch for election coverage, Dale?
Which network you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, NBC.
Okay.
So, and I didn't stay past 10 o'clock. I really assumed they'd still be counting the next morning when I turned it on. So that way I had a fairly good night's sleep.
Right. What'd you watch, Mike, for coverage?
I had a blend of 4 of them going last night. I had Fox, I had CNBC, MSNBC, and CNN, and I would flip between all of them. And it was interesting that one would call a state and the other 3 would not. And it kind of rotated. Who was it called? NBC, I think it was MSNBC called North Carolina first, but I think it was Fox who called Pennsylvania first. And then it was CNN, I think, that called Georgia. So it was kind of like a mixed bag. And I wanted to, just kind of listen to all of the opinions of what was going on and how it was going on. And yeah, I watched it right up until the speech of the elected president, and I tried to shut it off and roll over and go to bed, but that wasn't happening. Kind of thought about Dale wearing that comb over.
I must have been out of my. I don't remember him that bad, but
I watched NBC as well, and Lester Holt, and I thought NBC was as fair on both sides for the most part. They had a man on a map, and he could go county or city like that. And he would bring up how Biden had done, how Harris was doing, would compare Biden and Harris. Mm-hmm. And
sometimes like 16, 20, and 24 they compared sometimes.
Yeah. And it was real interesting. Mm-hmm. Almost by 11:30, I knew Trump was a winner. You could tell. I mean, even without, they kept saying, well, Michigan, without Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. But it was pretty obvious Trump was going to be the winner, I thought, Mike.
I was still holding my breath. Because, it was described. Were you watching John King? Was that the guy you were watching?
I think so.
He would talk about how the rural or the urban areas were coming in, but you still had big metro areas that had yet to come in, and Detroit hadn't come in, and Philadelphia still had 100,000 untallied votes, and Fulton County and Atlanta, and I was just, I'm a little junky with politics anyways. I needed to get my fill, and boy, I got it last night. I'm telling you. I'm paying for it today.
Well, Dale, I'm going to ask you this. We'll start with you. What do you think? Why do you think Trump won?
I don't know. I've had a couple conversations with people, and I think they indicated to me that they would not vote for a woman, and that they, especially, and then of course she's a black woman, which, and if who knows if that's part of it or not. Obviously, a lot of people like Mike thought they were doing better when Trump was president. That personally, and I have to be honest, we had the kid on that does the podcast at Fairbank, and he said he was not voting character, he was voting policies. And then last week we were talking with Mike, and when Mike told me he was voting for Trump because he was much better off when Trump was president, even though he didn't particularly like the man, I had a funny feeling in my stomach at that very moment, and carried it with me over the weekend, that that didn't look too good for Vice President Harris. If those two guys had that feeling, and these are not radicals that are going after the Capitol. These are nice men, have businesses and families and this sort of thing, and that's what they were thinking. And so I really thought if those kind of people can put aside the character issues and vote for him, then he's probably going to win. And so that's the way it turned out.
Well, Mike, why do you think Trump won?
It's money in your pocket. How much money do I have in my pocket? If I don't have money in my pocket, I can't feed my family. I can't keep my lights on. I can't pay my mortgage. It's money. Even if my salary stayed the same, the cost of living has gone up drastically. Gas has gone up. Groceries have gone up. Everything's gone up. So I got less money to do what I want to do. And I thought it was the economy. And, use the line Clinton said, it's the economy, stupid. That's it, right? And Jim and Dale, it went across all of it. Whether you were Latino, black, white, Chinese, I don't care. It was everybody. And they were all saying the same thing. It was better for me 4 years ago than it is today.
Mm-hmm. And she was really unwilling to distance herself from Biden, which I thought there was ways that she could have done that to give herself a little space. But she never took any opportunity to do that. Those questions really fuddled her up.
To her credit,
she didn't know how to answer those. Yeah.
And I thought about that too, Dale, and she wouldn't. She wouldn't leave him. To her credit.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta respect that loyalty.
And I was listening to her I guess it was a concession speech this afternoon. I was thinking all day how hard that would be. You're one side, you want to say, oh, the dirty, rotten guy, he called me all these bad names and this and that, and I hope he falls down and breaks his nose and this sort of thing. And on the other side, you say, I want my country to do well, and if he's the president, I hope that my country does well, even though I don't like him as president. So she was torn between those, I'm sure. And I wonder how many drafts they went through before they came up with a speech that wasn't 100% I give in, but it wasn't mean and nasty either. And so one guy said, to her credit, she should have talked more like that during the campaign than at the last speech of the election. So it would be hard not to be a little bit more emotional, and maybe that's why she waited till this afternoon too. So
yeah, I
don't know. We may never know the answer to all those. So.
My thought is this: Trump outworked her, and part of that is Biden's fault. Biden promised he was going to run one term and be done. Mm-hmm. Biden put her in a terrible position, left her with 100 days. And that wasn't fair to her.
They said he'd been running for years.
Yeah. So
never quit. So.
I'm not convinced it's Harris's fault that she lost, but I do agree with both of you guys. It's the economy. That's number one issue. But Trump was allowed to run through through an election, through the winter and the spring. He was constantly in the news. Biden was hiding in the White House, and then all of a sudden, when he looked bad, well, here's Harris, and I'm not blaming Harris again. I thought she ran a good race, but Biden put her in a bad situation. And even when Obama and the Clintons came and James Carville and those guys, it was too late. The bridges were burned.
Would you have thought that she might have had a fighting chance if she chose a different partner?
It was a tough situation with Israel at war. We had huge protests going on in the summertime over Gaza. If she'd have lost those people, she'd have really got whipped.
Yeah. So you're talking about the Pennsylvania governor, though? Is that who you're referring to? Yeah. He comes across really well. I've had no experience with him except the last couple of days he's been on, and
but he's
seemed like a man for the future, maybe.
But he's also, and this is no attack. This is just fact. He's pro-Israel.
Well, he's Jewish.
So, in the events going. But Harris's husband's Jewish.
Yeah. They had a stable that they could Kelly in Arizona, right? Could have thrown him in there. He's a pretty sharp tack too, right? You could have found somebody in the blue wall that would have secured, a state or two of that, and that's what she needed. She needed that blue wall. Whether it was Pennsylvania and Michigan or Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, but there were other. I thought other people like a heck of a lot more qualified than Walz. And but anyways, I just wondered if you guys felt as though if she had a different running mate, that would have made a difference for her.
It was comfort. It was comfort. He made her feel comfortable. I think he told her, and I may be misspeaking here, but I thought he told her he didn't want the office. He didn't want to be president ever. Mm-hmm. And so she didn't feel threatened by him. I think she felt threatened by, what's that man's name out in Pennsylvania?
Yeah,
Shapiro?
Yeah, is it Shapiro?
Yeah,
I think so.
I don't remember those kind of things.
But I really think she felt threatened by him. That he was the smarter person in the room, perhaps.
Will she run again?
She's young enough. And she's from California. We should do a Nixon. She'll go to California and run for governor. And then when she loses that, she'll run for president again and win. So, yeah, I don't know. We don't have Harris to kick around anymore. I wish she'd say that. That would be great. So, yeah, who knows? These things can put you out. And if the behind-the-scenes guys think that she was the problem, then she won't get another chance, It'll be interesting to see. But the Democrats they're in bad shape.
We're gonna get out of this issue with one question.
Oh.
Before we get out of this issue, I want you to think about this and answer this question. I'll bloviate and give the first answer. In your minds, who is the Republican nominee in 28? And I will start and say Donald Jr.
Oh, okay.
Will be the Republican nominee in 28 after Trump goes through. I was talking to someone and they said, well, Trump is old enough, Vance could run, or Vance could be in there as president 10 to 11 years. If Trump's health is not good. I watched what Trump did, and that's amazing how hard he ran,
So you're thinking who? Don Jr.?
Don Jr. in 28.
Yeah. Well, Vance, I think, is very ambitious, just from everything. And if he got some schooling in how to present himself and everything, and not saying some of the things he does, he'd be a real tough candidate for it. A lot depends, like you say, on how long, if Trump finishes his whole term out, and does he give Vance anything to do to let him shine a little bit? I can't remember the context of it. They were saying Trump trusts people named Trump. Mm-hmm. And so he may very well be grooming one of those kids. It's hard to say. But, yeah, so I'll go with Vance. So just,
all right.
Yeah, I think he's very ambitious and he'll try real hard. So.
Okay. Mike, what do you think?
Neil, I'm jumping on your bandwagon. So there's going to be monies in a pot left over from this campaign. There'll be monies that will be contributed to the next campaign, and that money can only be used by one person. J.D. Vance, right? And the key to it is money, right? Isn't that why they went with Kamala?
Yeah, yeah. That's a good thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. So You think it's Vance, huh?
I do, and I think if he's as loyal to Trump as Kamala was to Biden, I think he gets the nod. The only issue with Trump Jr. is he's got political experience, which helped the old man, and I get that. The name is still Trump.
Well, I hope that in 4 years we're all here to talk about it.
We are going to be here, Dale.
Well, I know it's a little shaky. We're going to try. So.
All right. Where are you, Mike? Tell the people where you're at right now.
I'm currently about 6 miles outside of New York City. I could throw a baseball to Giants Stadium.
Okay.
And, interesting. That close.
Oh yeah.
And this is for your work, right?
That is correct.
Okay. So what did you do today, or did you work at all today since you were up late last night?
I was doing a crossword puzzle all day, Dale.
Okay.
I have a question for you, Jim or Dale. We poke fun of some other states that can't do their tabulations. Why is it we have one House seat that is at 99%. Can you answer that?
Probably because it's really, really close vote. I would imagine that there's enough outstanding votes that haven't been counted yet that it could go either way. Is why they usually don't call it. Because
Okay.
I didn't realize. Do we have one like that?
Meek Smiles.
Where is it?
Anna Moret Meek Smiles. Is that
Oh yeah, I think she's the winner.
Is she the winner?
I think she won quite handily, actually.
At
I went online about a half an hour ago, and they were still at same number as they were at 11 o'clock last night. There was about 300 votes between the two of them.
Oh, I thought it was that she beat her really handily.
no, it was close.
Was it really?
Close.
Okay.
There was. I wonder. There was one county that I think didn't have the votes in, and I wonder if they didn't have issues with the ballot box or counting or something, sort of like out in Minnesota. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell. But let's go on. Let's go locally. Let's look first at the Board of Supervisors election. We had Keith Weiland and Rick Wolfcool in, and they for a debate, or sort of a debate, and that was a very close election. 10,298 people voted in Buchanan County, and Keith won 5,281 to 5,017. He only won by 64 votes.
So a lot of people had to cross over from voting for Trump to voting for Wolfcool.
Wolfcool.
Yeah, and that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
So
Wolfcool is a very prominent name in independence, but
that was very close.
Yeah, that was a very close election there.
But talking about close, the EMS election.
So
that was close.
What was the numbers there?
Well, they needed
Dale?
60%, and they got 59.33%. So they were a little short.
Like 60-some votes
67
short.
hundredths of a percentage point. So,
Wow.
I imagine we'll be seeing that again sometime. Usually, they'd have to have a special election, I guess, if they wanted to do it again. But that's very. What you told me about 38 votes?
60-some votes.
60-some votes were the difference. Okay, that's 60% is a hard number to get to for almost anything. But to get that close the first time, that shows that most people in this county want this kind of system set up, and so I imagine they will try again.
I'm not sure how long. If it's like school votes, they've got to wait a whole year, right?
No, I don't. I think it's a number of days. I don't think it's a whole year. And I guess I don't know. This is a new law they're using,
Right.
so I have no idea.
Right.
But and see, now they don't have like school board elections. They're all the same as the city elections, and they don't have a special day or anything. So this would have to be like a one. This is the only thing they're voting on.
Right.
If they're allowed to do that, and I'm not sure. I don't know what the law says about this, but we'll see it again.
Yeah. Oh, we will.
Yeah.
We will. I mean, the people in Independence don't have an option.
Yeah.
They've got to do that. One thing I sort of skipped here, and we need to go back to, is the House and the Senate. The House and the Senate. The Republicans took both the House and the Senate here. Mike, is that a mandate for Trump?
I just the way he won, if it was going to be a really close election, he would have come in at somewhat of what I would consider being a lame duck. But I really think with the way he won, do you know that she did not win one county, 2,023 counties nationwide, and she did not increase in one county nationwide I think it was over Biden.
More than likely, yeah. Because that's who they were comparing it to. But she had to do better than Biden, actually, the way the demographics were setting up this year. And
so is it a mandate? Can Trump do what he wants when he takes office?
I hope he does it with a guided hand. There's more than just the economy, but it is really the economy. There's some things that I would like to see changed, but I think he's got a mandate. I think people spoke loudly. They want jobs. They want prices to be leveled off. They want peace and tranquility. I think that they want sanity back. They want a secure border. So I think he's got a mandate, and I think the board is going to be the first thing. I mean, that's January 20th at 12:01. The construction starts. I think he's going to start drilling. Although I did hear from the other side that they have more leases open now for drilling, and there's more oil available now than there was during his administration. I don't know, but I think he's got a mandate.
It's what do you think, Dale? Is he going to be a
mandate? To me, a mandate would have to be more than half the country supporting you. So I don't know if I would call it a mandate or not, but he's got, one pundit was talking today, he's got 2 years, because traditionally, at the midterm elections, something goes the other way. Like the out of power party gets enough votes to become, like in the House of Representatives, it would switch or something. And so they figure he's probably got 2 years to really do whatever he wants. And the last 2 years is if one of the houses would change, then you're running really as a lame duck president, just trying to do what you can do. And so, because he has said he will not run again. Well, he can't run again legally. He can't legally can't run in. So he's already won 3 times, right?
Let's talk
You know
about
what?
that.
I think he's signing an executive order that makes him a dictator at 12:01.
Let's talk about that. I want to talk about him winning again.
I thought we were done with him.
No, here's the thing. Here is the thing. And you go back, and when HW lost, he disappeared. When Pence, I mean,
he almost disappeared
he
for
was
good.
But he was respectable about it. But he didn't fight and say, Trump for the last 4 years has been saying, "I'm a winner. I'm not a loser. I'm a winner."
Yeah.
Whether or not
it's true or not doesn't make any difference, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying he won the election. What I'm saying is he kept saying, "I'm a winner."
Yeah.
He didn't say, "I lost the election."
Mm-hmm. He never said that.
He never said that.
Actually, there's some things came up in the last week where he did say that.
A couple
he admitted
times,
to that to some people. So,
but to his credit, he wanted the people to know, "I'm a winner." Mm-hmm. When HW lost to Clinton, when HW could have came back.
Yeah,
he didn't. So I don't think, in my mind, I don't think Trump won the last election. But I do value what he said. What's that?
You're talking 2020?
Yeah.
2020,
Yeah. To his credit, he kept saying, "I'm a winner, look at me." And he didn't go away.
Yeah. Well, he sticks to his story. It doesn't matter,
Yeah.
And I guess my question is politics, is that the wave of the future, is to get something started and stick with it no matter what, whether it's true or not, and never give in. Never say I'm sorry, or never say I made a mistake, or never say the other guy had a better idea and I didn't, he won, or something, like you and I would do.
Right.
If we had a disagreement and you convinced me, I would agree that you had convinced me that I was wrong, and so he doesn't do that. And sometimes you get in a real pickle, especially if you have nuclear bombs and this kind of thing, if you refuse to admit that you made a mistake, or that you need to back up a little bit or whatever. So I don't know. It's all speculation, and we'll know a lot more in 2 years. We'll know a lot more end of January from if he does what he says he's going to do in the first couple of days he's in office. Why there'll be a lot of news to talk about.
Well, let's talk about somebody here that is sort of the worst kept secret in the room, Elon. Did Elon win him the election?
I don't know. He's kind of shows his belly button a lot when he's jumping around. I saw that. He has like a 4-inch vertical leap, they were saying. But I don't know. You can think, well, that guy is stupid. You think, well, that guy has made billions of dollars. He must have something on the ball. So what's going on? So I don't know if his personality would let him be president or not. I don't know.
No.
Is that what you're talking about?
No. Did he win Trump the election? Trump attached himself to him hard.
Well, he gave him millions of dollars to work with, so that I'm sure that didn't hurt. So yeah, I don't know.
He didn't only give him that; he gave him Twitter.
Well,
or X.
Sure. Yeah.
He gave him media.
Yeah.
and allowed him to get the word out. What do you think, Mike?
I think Elon helped him. I do. He, I think, more than anything, helped attract the younger crowd. Elon's kind of the cool dude with a lot of money and a lot of cool toys. He's got that cool car line. He's got that rocket that he brought down, whatever. I mean, he's kind of the cool dude. I like the idea that he's going to come in, according to Trump, and kind of balance out all of this, or some of the government waste. Do you know that we had the jobs report last month? We lost 28,000 jobs. We gained 40,000 in the government sector and lost 28,000 in the manufacturing sector, to a tune of 12,000 jobs. Country of 60 million people?
Where were those jobs at, Mike?
Where were the jobs at?
Where were those 12,000 new jobs, yeah?
They were 40,000 new government jobs and a loss of 28,000 manufacturing jobs.
Right. So, I mean, where did those new jobs come? I mean, come from in the government?
I have no idea. I don't know.
It'd be interested to know where those jobs, where those people were hired at.
I would agree with you, Jim. I wonder, why weren't we having 200,000 new jobs in manufacturing, agricultural, whatever, and the biggest employer we got last month was the U.S. government.
So you think Elon is going to be as involved in the government as Trump makes him out to be?
Didn't he go into Twitter and cut out like 90% of the employees, and Twitter still runs fine?
He did. But I mean, you think Trump is going to you think he's going to be involved in the government?
Oh, I definitely do. I sure as heck do. I think he's a really smart guy, and the old adage of doesn't matter how smart I am, it's how smart the people around me are, right?
What about Bobby Kennedy?
You know what? When he first got in, I was like, what's up with this guy? But I mean, there were some things I scratched my head about. All this processed food that we have, and all these illnesses that are coming back. I don't know. I don't know much about Kennedy, even though he's from my hometown. I don't know much about him, but he does make some interesting points. I think the addition of Tulsi Gabbard will help. Who else was I hearing about? I would like to see both sides to kind of sit down and go, hey, what can we really do for each other? And really just get back to making us all be able to talk to one another and all prosperous again. And I hope he does that. I hope he extends the olive branch to the other side.
We talked about this on the show. You talked about all this food additives and stuff. A number of those companies, those food companies, were bought by the cigarette companies when the government was after them for nicotine and all of that. They sent those scientists that were making cigarettes and stuff addictive to the companies that were making the food. And that's one of the issues that Bobby talks about as well, is that I'll admit I'm as I look over at Blake's got a Mountain Dew sitting over there, and I'm in the middle of a 48-hour fast right now, and I would love a soda right now, Dr. Pepper, and once I have a soda, then I have a soda tomorrow, then I have a soda tomorrow, then I have a soda tomorrow. They know how to addict you. So it'll be interesting what Bobby does that way. Who else is in his cabinet?
Oh, let's see. I think he might bring back some of the old money men, although they're making too much money on the news channels. But I'd like to see, what's the guy on at 4 o'clock there? Kind of a little wacky guy.
Ron Steele.
Ron Steele.
Yeah.
No, I think Ron Steele doesn't want to leave KWWF.
Oh, okay, all right. We're teachers. We never watch shows about money, so.
I think he's going to bring that guy back. Tulsi Gabbard might be some sort of a UN type of person, former Nikki Haley. I think the young fellow Vivek Ramaswamy there, I think he's going to do something in the cabinet as well. He's very well spoken. I think Bergman from North Dakota might be an energy secretary. I don't know of a good war hawk that would be the defense secretary, but I'm sure there's one out there.
You've got to ask what's going to happen in Ukraine, or what's going to happen in Israel.
Yes.
You would have to think. You would have to think that Hamas is looking to settle here before Trump gets in office.
Trump talked about showing the leader of Hamas and telling him that if one of the American soldiers, or maybe it wasn't Hamas, maybe it was the Taliban or something, some leader, he showed him a picture of his house and said, if you harm an American soldier, we will level that house. And I thought that was kind of an interesting approach. I definitely would get my attention. I don't know how you solve a religious war. Can you answer that? How are you going to solve a religious war?
Well, it's been going on over 2,000 years. It's the
right.
When Moses got the Jews to go across the river, there were already people living there, and they, so there was a fight, and they've been fighting ever since over that land. And so I don't know. They all have a claim. And the Crusaders, stole and killed and raped their way into Jerusalem. When was that? 1,500 years ago or whatever. They still talk about the Crusaders, called the white guys Crusaders, and there's religious shrines that they absolutely will not give up, neither side. And so I don't know. There is no answer there that I can think of. So one side's all dead. And I don't think that's going to happen. So they don't. It's not a rational thought kind of thing for them. It's just hatred and revenge over things that happened a long, long time ago, and they don't get over it.
Right.
So final thought on the election.
Bah humbug. All right.
Humbug. Mike, final thought on the election before we go to the next part here.
I'm just. I'm ecstatic. I'm hoping for good things for the country, for everybody. That's about all I got to say. I still want to know about the 1st District over there in Iowa, so somebody needs to get on the phone to them.
Okay. Well, we'll look it up.
This is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. Let's talk etiquette here a little bit, gentlemen.
Okay, you never hold my chair for me.
I'm sorry, Dale. Do you know what each fork is for, Mike? You travel a lot, eat out a lot. Do you know what each fork is for?
The plastic one is for the macaroni salad.
Right.
And the spoon is for the ice cream. So,
Jim, you are sounding like my children. They think all I do is go visit exotic cities, go out to eat dinner, and entertain customers. That's all I do. And I honestly, I don't even know how many forks there are. Are there 3?
Well, there's the salad fork, the dinner fork, and the dessert fork, usually. And if you have shellfish, there's another fork. There's one that goes across the top up there. I've never eaten anywhere that had one of those, but I've seen them at different places. So that's 4, right?
Right.
And then there's a soup spoon, a tablespoon for. And is there a teaspoon?
Yeah. The tablespoon wouldn't be on the table. The teaspoon would be like for eating dessert or that sort of thing, or stirring your coffee, I guess.
There's the butter knife. There's the steak knife. There's
there's the butter knife that stays with the butter.
Yeah.
And you use that to put some on your plate, and use your butter knife to take some of that off your plate and put it on your roll.
Okay.
Your Parker House roll. And then, but you don't take your knife and dip into the butter dish on your bread. That's a no-no.
So all those etiquette rules go back years and years. I've got modern etiquette rules for you guys.
Thank goodness.
So the 100 modern etiquette rules. You may cancel almost any plans for the night up until 2 p.m. So you could have called us today up until 2 p.m. and said...
Central Time, of course.
Central Time, that you couldn't be on the air with us. Do you agree with that etiquette?
I generally think it's rude to cancel at any time. up until 2 o'clock.
That seems like a little short notice to me.
Yeah,
I would think.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Dale. I think that's too short.
You've already got the groceries bought and Peter, I don't know. I think that's a little short notice myself.
All right, what about this? It's acceptable to tell any kind of lie in order to leave a drinks date or party.
I would err and say no. I couldn't do that. I would have to be honest because I don't want to run into you at the movie theater and go, "Oh my God!"
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's always better, I think, in the long run to tell the truth. If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember so much of what you said. So,
All right.
I don't know. I understand what people have these dates where they're just meeting for the first time for drinks,
Yeah.
and then this is no good. I want to leave. Yeah, I think you need to. If it's a girl, you should give the girl cab fares. I'm sorry, I have to go. It's not working out for me or whatever. I don't know, but maybe that's wrong too. But
I had a good friend. I don't know if you'd have been here yet. Dan Flaherty was a math teacher at Jesup High School. Mike, I don't think you guys were here yet before Dan passed away. But Dan would tell a story, and he would lead with, "I probably told you this story before, but..."
yeah, lots of people do that. Yeah.
But here is the etiquette on. So if someone starts telling you a story you've heard before, you have 2 seconds to tell them, "I've heard the story." Do you agree with that?
I do. I think, and usually it depends on the situation. Usually, if someone starts telling me a joke, sometimes it's a joke I told them 2 days ago. But I try to say, "Yeah, oh yeah, I remember you told me that one." I try to say that right away. But sometimes, depending on who's doing it, I just listen to the whole joke and pretend I've never heard it. So I have done that.
So you think that's etiquette?
Yeah, I think being considerate of other people's feelings is always good etiquette.
So once it gets past 2 seconds,
Listen to it. It won't hurt you.
you agree. All right. What about you, Mike?
I would agree with Dale. Know your audience, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What about a pronunciation of words? Have you ever told someone, no, you say, if someone says neither, you say, no, it's neither, or something like that? Des Moines.
You're asking a Boston guy, okay?
Right?
If I don't correct people, are you kidding me? It's in all of my conversations. When people try to say, say car, say whatever. It's in all of my conversations. So I think, again, know your audience, but know who's speaking. Because I'm going to correct you if I just think that proper etiquette to say, no, it's this way.
Well, I would correct if they're saying, okay, Shakespeare said this, and, oh, no, that was Mark Twain. I don't mind doing that kind of thing.
Okay.
I say, you say, well, I think that was a Mark Twain quote, just to keep them from getting embarrassed later on or whatever. It's a helpful thing. But grammar things, people use a helping word with the wrong verb. Have went, or he drives me crazy because I taught English a lot of years. But, as long as you're getting the idea of what they want to say, that's the main thing. And if it's just casual conversation with a bunch of guys, it doesn't hurt anything. This guy's not going to get fired from Harvard because he doesn't use correct English if he's talking to me and a bunch of other farmers about the corn crop or whatever. Right. So, but I try to, if I can use my expertise to help people not get embarrassed later on, if they're just making an honest mistake, I will usually say something. But grammar things or things that have no importance as far as getting the meaning of what they're saying, I try not to get involved with that.
So Dale, are you the culprit then? Did you have my wife in school?
I don't know. What was her name?
Barbara Kester.
Kester. I don't believe so, but I wouldn't swear to it because I had a lot of kids. But
English major, and she always corrects my emails.
Yeah. So.
How's your ruler?
I was at a funeral on Friday, I guess, and a young man comes in and sits in front of me. He says, "Hello, Mr. Rueber," and he sits down. So I said, "Okay, that's a student," because he said Mr. Rueber. So the whole funeral said, "Okay, what's this kid's name?" So at the very end, as he's getting up to leave, I said, I knew his first name. And so I said, I'm going to talk. And so then 3 hours later, his last name came to me, but I worked on it, And so I'm almost positive that's who the kid was. But I can't remember why am I telling you this.
Okay.
What was the question?
So, well,
No, I don't believe so. I don't believe I had a Kester. That doesn't ring a bell. But if I did, I'm sorry that I don't remember. Your lovely wife. But I don't think so. I don't think so.
So here's one for you guys. It's never too late to send a condolence note.
Yeah, I have trouble with that because if it goes by and man, what do you say? You know, I'm sorry I didn't send you a note 6 months ago when your husband died or whatever. You know, I usually I admit this, but I usually just let it go. But I think people appreciate getting those things even if they are 6 months later or whatever. So I'm kind of on both sides, and so. So what? Read the rule again.
It's never too late to send a condolence note.
I guess I agree with that.
What do you think, Mike?
I think it's the thought that counts.
Yeah.
And they can appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know, you're still thinking about me, right?
Let's do when we were young here. Don't wait for the right time to break up with someone. So they're saying...
There's ancient history, I tell you. Okay, go ahead.
So they're saying don't wait for January 3rd to break up. If you're going to break up before Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's just
Save
as
the
rude.
present money.
Well, no, it's just as rude to break up January 3rd as it is before Christmas.
Yeah, no, it's. I guess I would say, if you know you're breaking up with this person, get her done. You know, there's no say, well, I'll wait till next Tuesday. Well, you're just lying to this person those X number of days. You go to their house and she says, oh, my grandma just died. Probably not a good time to get into personal things. But all in all, probably as soon as you realize that this is not what you want, I think you need to take care of it right away. So, because it only gets worse the longer you go.
What do you think, Mike?
I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off. Yep, right then and there.
Get it done early. All right. Here's one that drives me crazy, and I'm guilty of this. Never answer a compliment with a compliment.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So great podcast. Oh yeah, I like your hair.
Yeah.
They say never answer a compliment with a compliment because it's not heartfelt. What do you think, Mike?
I don't know, Jim. If you said I had nice shoes, would it be wrong for me to say, hey, I like the tie?
Yeah, because if you like my tie, you'd have told me before. It's just you're just bloviating. At least that's what Melissa says.
Huh. Okay. I'm going to defer to Dale because I would. You gave me a compliment. I'm going to give you one back if I feel like it.
Yeah, I understand what she is saying. If someone says, compliment you, you should say, well, thank you very much, and let it go at that.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the best thing, because otherwise it looks like you're just making something up quickly the problem I have is people, you thank them for something and they say, oh, no problem. And just say you're welcome. And I don't like restaurant ladies that call me sweetheart or honey or that sort of thing either, but that's another story.
Is it okay to say someone's name? Let me restate that.
Please
Is
do,
it okay to ask someone how to say someone's name? So, like, how do you say your last name, Mike? There you go. So is it appropriate for me or for someone to do that?
I think that's a matter of respect. Yes, I think it is, because I don't want to be calling you John all the time when I know I just don't know his name.
Yeah.
Right? It's a matter of respect.
And these days, the first names you have to ask them sometimes too, because there's a lot of crazy spellings out there where the letters, as we learned their sounds, aren't what they're using them for. So the name is spelled with a bunch of letters but a whole crazy different kind of sounds. Sort of like Gillespie. There's a lot of letters you say that aren't really in the word.
Yeah.
You just have to learn that. And so I think it's quite proper to ask people how to pronounce their name. And if they have that kind of name, they've been asked that before.
There you go.
Yeah.
Melissa argues that to do it as early as possible and to do it casually.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do one more and get out of here. It says, never ask anyone what their job is. She claims it's classist and boring. Try, other topics. And don't, as she goes on, don't ask people where they live within 2 minutes of meeting them either.
Yeah, what's your address, right? Yeah. Okay.
I think part of building rapport with somebody are those questions. And you want to build rapport if you're going to have a conversation, would you not?
So, yeah, it was my 5-year class reunion, the first one we had after we graduated, and I was talking to a girl that I went kindergarten through 12th grade with. And so we're talking, and I said, "And how is your mother?" And she said, "Well, she's dead." And I said, "Oh, I didn't know that." And so you hesitate to ask sometimes questions without a little groundwork or whatever. Everybody pretty much has a job of some kind, and so it's one way of getting started into a conversation. But I don't know, what else would you talk about?
How's your family?
Yeah, well,
Tell us about your family. How's your...
Yeah, my daughter's got muscular dystrophy, and my wife is in the hospital, and my grandma is this and that. And I asked a checkout girl, I guess that's the wrong phrase probably, but checkout girl, Fairway, just casual. She's doing the groceries, and I said, "Well, how are you today?" Well, she told me, and she was rotten and miserable, and she told me every reason why she felt rotten and miserable. The other girls hated her in the check, they were jealous of her, the other girls that worked in the store, and this was happening at home, and the boyfriend, this sort of thing. And I said, "Hey, I'm sorry I asked." And so then I leave, I tell my wife, don't ever stop at that girl's counter again. Because, there's something, when I say, "How are you doing?" I really don't want to know. I just say fine, and that's all. It's just a way of getting something going. But
and that's what Melissa says.
Yeah.
That you're supposed to answer. How are you today? I'm fine, thank you.
Yeah.
Here's the last one, Mike, because you're traveling. I got to ask you this. Is it inappropriate to stand up in the aisle immediately after the airplane lands?
Oh, you want to know about airplane etiquette?
That one first. Standing up right after the airplane lands. Is it appropriate?
I think it is if you take a step back and allow your entire row to get out. And I will add another caveat. If you are not landing late because people are trying to make connections, you don't step up and step in front of somebody who's got 7 minutes to get from one terminal to another. If it's Thursday night at 11 o'clock, I'm going to get up, I'm going to stand up and move back in order to allow everybody in front of me to go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what she says. Don't feel bad about standing up in the aisle immediately upon the plane landing. Flying is bad enough already. Do what you can to make things better for yourselves. Just don't knock the elderly people down on the way.
Watch out with those elderly people. Yes.
We call those Jesus flights. Everybody gets on in a wheelchair and everybody gets off without one.
Yeah. They said they have at Disneyland a extra pass you can buy that they beep it and it gets you to the front of the line if you pay another $250 a person. And the guy said he was going to turn in his wheelchair and get one of those to get to the front of the line. And I have a granddaughter in a wheelchair, and they went to Disney World, and it was very, very helpful for them,
Yeah.
I mean, but I know there are people that abuse things too, and if you're willing to stand in line for 2.5 hours for a 2-minute ride, well, then you need to have your head examined anyway, I think.
Yeah, I'm
not interested in that at all.
No.
So.
Have you been? Did you take the kids to Disneyland?
I have taken the kids to Disneyland.
Land or world?
Florida.
Florida, okay, that's world.
So at the time, Ian was one of the two. It was only maybe 6 months old, and slept in we had this bureau, and we opened the drawer, and that was where he slept.
Yeah, pretty young then. Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, we've taken the kids to Disney.
So I've been to Disneyland, but never to Disney World.
I've
So,
been to neither one, and they don't excite.
Here's why I was, early 20s, and it was a wedding situation where the groomsmen, day after the wedding was Saturday, so Sunday, the groomsmen and the bridesmaids paired up and we went to Disneyland. And so that's how I happened. And it was a fun place for a date. Very expensive,
Right.
but it was a fun place to take a date. But I can't imagine taking a bunch of little kids there. I think that'd be a very hectic day. So
All right. Well, this is Steve Brown Arts Center Podcast Network. Dale, you've got a little bit of Jesup news for
some
us.
Jesup news. Okay, I'll just do real quick. We're running along here. The library, it's a new month, so we have a new spice.
Okay.
Okay, and it's called fenugreek. You ever had that, Mike? Fenugreek?
No.
On your salad? It's a little leaf that you put in sauces or on meat as you bake it and this sort of thing. So, but if you want a sample of that, and you walk in the library now, you can smell it. They have enough packages that the aroma is there. So it's pretty good. They're doing a puzzle swap in the library. Check that out. I like to do puzzles in the wintertime. We used to get one every Christmas to do, but if you have a puzzle in good condition, drop it off early in December. This is going ahead a little bit. 1 week, and then the next week you can come in and take one. So I can take a puzzle, get a puzzle, that sort of thing. And a lot of those people only do one time, so they're in excellent condition. So the chapter chat, the book they're reading is The Ride of Her Life by Annie Letts. It says the incredible true story of a woman who rode her horse across America in the 1950s. You ever notice Becky never chooses a book about the man who did something? It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. The movie in November is called Unsung Hero, and they don't say anything about you. Are you familiar with that?
No.
Unsung Hero? I'm not either. So I'll have to look that up for next time. Remember, they have the exercise groups Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 o'clock. The little tot story time Thursdays at 10:30. Some things coming up. Friends of the Library meeting. They're always looking for people to join the Friends or just to come if you're interested in the library. November 13th, they're having family photo night. You should bring your dog in. It says local photographer Claire Kite will capture your family holiday photo for free. 2 backdrops are available. Registration is required. 5 to 6 people in one family per 15-minute time slot. So you get 15 minutes to get your family picture taken for Christmas. So that's pretty neat. Wow. And I'm not sure, Claire Kite, do you know which Kite family that's from? It's with a K. Clay, yeah.
Is that Darren Kite's wife, I think.
Is it? Okay.
I think.
Okay. November 12th, they're doing gourd painting. This is at 1356th Street in Jesup, so you need to register for that. But you get to use your imagination and paint a gourd, and all the supplies are included. And space is limited, but this is down where the car store used to be. I think that's her, right? Okay, the library will be closed for Thanksgiving, of course, 28th and the 29th. But they will have the library open on the 30th, September 30th, or Saturday, November 30th. So a little bit of school thing. November 11th, this is probably too late. They're having a Veterans Day program in the South Gym at the school. The 13th, they're having a career fair. Remember, the 15th and 16th, try to get up and see the fall musical because if you've ever been in a play, you know how much work it is. Sports, the varsity girls have a jamboree at Jesup November the 21st. Usually they play a half, right? A couple different schools. And then the boys' varsity jamboree is at North Lynn on the 25th. And then the girls' first game looks like is at the varsity JV at Waukon on the 26th. So it's almost a whole month goes by before we get into basketball, which is pretty typical, right? Yeah. And then there's quite a few things going on. You might want to circle December 6th because Denver's coming to play girls and boys basketball, and the FFA's having their tenderloin supper that same night, which always goes real well. And then there's a lot of winter concert for middle school on the 9th, middle school winter, or that's high school on the 9th. The winter concert for the middle school and the elementary concert the 12th and the 16th. So all those are always in December. So always very nice. Okay. Blood drive's coming up in December, and they're donating blood in honor of a little boy named Aaron Butters, and he had a kidney the size of, he only had one kidney when he was born. He's adopted, and the kidney was the size of a grown man's fist, but had a tumor on there that was the size of what a child's kidney should be. And so he's had the surgery as treatment, but he now has 1/4 of a kidney is all he has. 1/4 of one kidney, and so he needs a transplant. And so he's had lots of blood, and he's going to need lots more blood. And so they're doing this blood drive in his honor, and that's on December the 17th, and Yvette Vogel does that. And if you've ever been to one of her blood drives, she makes cherry crisp and apple crisp and blueberry crisp with ice cream and everything. Treats you really nice. And they've extended the hours from 12 to 6 and gone up there looking to get 60. That'd be the most they've had in a long time.
Okay.
So usually they keep it down to 40. So, and then the Jesup Winterfest is December 7th. That's 4 to 6. And they're going to Santa Claus and all things like they had last year. And the Steve Brown Art Center will be in the basement of City Hall, right?
Right, as of right now, yes.
As of right now, that's where we're going. So,
Yes. And we're in discussion with some food proprietors
okay.
on that.
All right. So you have a few more minutes yet, or?
We got a little bit more time. What else do you have?
Well, November 11th, Monday, is when they have Veterans Day. And that's, for the minor services. But November 10th is the Marine Corps birthday, 249. That's the real big celebration we have in November, see. And so I have a few quotations from different people I thought I would read so people would know what the Marine Corps is all about. And so they'll always remember my experience was 60 years ago, and so I'm sure it's a lot different now. But there are only two kinds of people that understand Marines. Marines are those who have met them in battle. Everyone else has a second-hand opinion, okay? Always remember this, okay? Leadership is the sum of those qualities of intellect, human understanding, and moral character that enables a person to inspire and control a group of people successfully. And that's some of our current politicians could learn from that. Here's a Major General Oliver P. Smith, famous Marine. He says, "Retreat hell, we're just attacking in another direction." A few of these have swear words in, if you can believe that. Here's from General Norman Schwarzkopf, U.S. Army. "I can't say enough about the two Marine divisions. If I used words like brilliant, it would really be an under-description of the absolute superb job they did in breaching the so-called impenetrable barrier." Douglas MacArthur, U.S. Army. "I just returned from visiting the Marines at the front, and there's not a finer fighting organization in the world." Okay. "The deadliest weapon in the world is a Marine and his rifle." Okay. Now I'll give you a couple more, then I hate to go on and on, so. General Patton. "I want you boys to hurry up and whip these Germans so we can get out to the Pacific and kick the shit out of the purple pissing Japanese before the goddamn Marines get all the credit." And here's for all militaries. It says, "People sleep peacefully in their beds at night only because rough men stand ready to do violence on their behalf." And that was George Orwell, which I'm sure you've read. Okay. Now here's another Army general guy. He says, "We have 2 companies of Marines running all over this island and thousands of Army troops doing nothing." And that was General John Vesey, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. So here's another Army guy. "The safest place in Korea was right behind a platoon of Marines. Lord, how they could fight." That was Major General Frank Lowe, U.S. Army. "Captured North Korean major and panic sweeps my men when they are facing the American Marines." Here's General John Blackjack Pershing, World War I. "Why in the hell can't the Army do it if the Marines can? There are the same kind of men. Why can't they be like Marines?" And so I'm sure that our friend over here is really okay. Marines I see is 2 breeds, Rottweilers or Dobermans, because Marines come in 2 varieties, big and mean or skinny and mean. They're aggressive on the attack and tenacious on defense. They've got really short hair and they always go for the throat. If you don't, all right. There, the last thing was a little poem. They had a Marine Corps ball on November 10th. They have a big Marine Corps ball in Washington, D.C., and they asked the Commandant. The Commandant is the head general in the Marine Corps. You have God, the President, Secretary of the Navy, and the Commandant, okay? That's the order of important people. And so they asked him to say the blessing. And so he said, okay, this is called love. Okay, which you wouldn't think, but that's what he wrote, love. "There is the love of a beautiful maid and the love of a staunch, true man. There is the love of a baby, unafraid. These have existed since time began. But the eternal love, the love of all love, even greater than that of a mother, is the infinite, passionate, tender love of one drunken Marine for another." Thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank you.
Happy Veterans Day to all you guys out there.
Hey, Jim, how did your chili go on Friday?
Well, Tony, Littleton Chatham Historical Society had over 90 people they served, which is a good number.
Yep.
That Tony said that was a record number for them. He was real happy. You know, a good fundraiser for them. We had good crowd out to see Mike not only perform, but he also showed his art for the last time. We'll sponsor him again, but he is taking the winter off doing some remodeling of his house. He lives along the river over in Independence, and he was real happy with the amount of people that came out.
Well, my wife, after telling me for years we need no more paintings or artwork, bought one of his.
Did they really?
Yes,
Which one did she buy?
I was the autumn scene with the leaves and the orange and yellow leaves in the
yeah.
trees, and fits very well with our autumn decor.
Your decor.
You know,
Yeah.
I had decor, did you?
I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't either until I got married. Then I realized, oh man, I got decor.
Yeah, decor.
Yeah, right.
It was a lot of success. I met a new artist. We have a new artist in town from Santa Fe. He is the significant other, the husband of the American Lutheran Church's minister. His name is Rich Kelly. Although he is legally blind, he does some incredible art. He does geometric symbols and paints in oil-based color. Well, we're going to show him in M's Coffee over in Independence.
Okay.
So that will.
That's our November after Tim's is down.
Well, Tim's is down, so our plan is to have him up in about 2 weeks.
Okay,
Here,
all
so
right.
around Thanksgiving, before Thanksgiving.
Okay, that's good.
So if you'd like to donate to the Steve Brown Arts Center, have an idea for an event, go to the SteveBrownArtsCenter.org and follow the link. If you have news or would like to sponsor us, email us at Jim@SteveBrownArtsCenter.org or call me. That's how Rich got a hold of me at 319-290-0241 and leave a message. I was blessed tonight to be with producer Blake Tempus with co-hosts Mike Farrell and Dale Rueber. And as always, thanks to Kelly Seahas for having us here at Cowork 591 Studios. Thanks to the audience. We're so lucky to have a great crowd that tunes in every week, and we don't thank you enough. So thank you so much for bringing these stray dogs into your day. And as always, remember each day is about little victories.